can start her up.
Hi, Dr. Mark here for Natural Health. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks again for coming to our health shop. We're a little late tonight, late patients, and that's just a good problem, I guess. So again, ready to talk about the gut-brain connection tonight. Talking about diet throughout the whole month of March, and tonight we're kind of finishing up here with the gut-brain connection. It's a really important connection that many people haven't even heard about. Mainstream medicine really doesn't do anything with. It's just, for one thing, because they're compartmentalized, you have to go to a brain doctor or a gut doctor, but not the same guy. So it's just interesting how that works out. But anyway, we're going to talk about the gut-brain connection a lot tonight. I'm going to talk about it more on the nutrition side. Actually, we'll talk more about the chiropractic side, the nervous system side, and so we'll get right into it. Of course, I'm Dr. Mark. Again, I want to thank everybody who came to our 40th anniversary we had last week there. And it was just really nice to have everybody over and all the fun things we did. So I really appreciate that, and we'll hope to have another, at least a few more years going. So, but anyway, we'll get into the presentation. This is looking at a little bit of the gut here. So you can kind of see the parts of the cells that line the gut here with the little fingers on them. And so we want that to have tight junctions so there's nothing gets in there that's supposed to. We're talking about getting into the bloodstream or the lymphatics. So if you have a good normal thing, you have all these things out there, but they don't really bother anything. They're there all the time. And that's another thing that people don't realize, even like with this COVID thing, all these bugs are around all the time. There's millions and trillions of viruses in their body all the time. There's lots of bacteria, all kinds of things in there. I think I've heard that there's more bacteria in our body, in the gut, than there is cells in the body. It's just an amazing thing that how the symbiosis that goes on in there. And instead of trying to stop the symbiosis with antibiotics and all that kind of thing, I realize it gets out of control and you have to use those. But the more you use and abuse antibiotics, the more you screw up this gut-brain connection, how the gut works. So what happens is too, if you eat enough of the wrong kind of foods, gluten, all kinds of things, lectins, all kinds of things that irritate the gut lining. It can cause these tight junctions to be opened. Then you have what's called leaky gut, where the gut is leaky and inflamed. And so we deal, almost all the patients come in here for all kinds of symptoms have a leaky gut. And they have all these problems with food coming in that's not supposed to be in here. You have proteins. They're basically showing here the toxins and the microorganisms, but there's also proteins that come in that cause problems in this lymphatics or in the bloodstream, again, with the body then will have to fight that as an allergen response. And so when that happens, there's inflammation everywhere. The body's not absorbing nutrition, and then the brain suffers. There's a lot of connection neurologically to the brain, and even neurologically and vascularly to the brain from the gut. So there's a big connection with all that. So a lot of times, if the gut's not working correctly, the brain won't work, not only because you're not absorbing the nutrients you're supposed to get, but also because of this, the energy's not there, a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the mood swings, all this kind of stuff can come from what you eat and how it's affecting the gut. So we'll go into what's called the GAPS information, gastrointestinal psychological syndrome. Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride looked at this. She had a child who had autism and really tried to understand the reasons behind autism, not just treating it. And that's something it's really sickening over the last 50 years how much more autism there is. We went from 1 in 10,000 now to 1 in 80 or 60, depending on what source you listen to. 60 children have autism, and of course it goes along with another problem. That's another topic for another night, getting into that. But the big deal is now we have all these psychologists and all these therapy people that work on kids with autism. And why don't we just stop the cause of it? It's really a mess. And anyway, Dr. McBride got into this trying to figure out how to help her own child because there was no help. So she had to figure it out herself. And basically got into the understanding of how the gut is related to all these problems. And so it's just some information from that. Your gut literally serves as your second brain and even produces more of the neurotransmitter serotonin known to have beneficial influence on your mood than your brain does. So the gut is so important for how the brain works. The challenge is to identify strategies to optimize that bacteria population so that you can live in a beneficial symbiotic relationship where they nourish you, help you fight disease, and optimize your health. Again, the bacteria in the gut help to break down food, they help with B vitamins. Most people are deficient in B vitamins, and the B vitamins are very, very important for brain function. The brain having too much energy, too little energy, which means, or translates into anxiety, depression. A manic person has up and down all the time. People that are severely depressed are just depressed all the time, severely, that makes sense. So, and then anxious people, they're just anxious all the time. There's just a variable type of things that people go through depending on, even how their body handles. Genetics sometimes play a part in that, but why their body develops certain symptoms, but it has to do with these same underlying problems. And again, everybody's different. The thing that we see all the time, people are being treated with this one drug for anxiety. They just give it to everybody, like Prozac or something. Just give it to everybody. Well, it may help some people, but other people it makes them worse. And eventually it makes the whole problem worse. So a lot of problems with the way things are treated. This is not handled correctly, but at Natural Health, we look at the underlying cause. Again, back to the leaky gut and what's going on in there, and fixing the gut, getting the gut to heal up, really doesn't take that long, but you just have to treat it correctly and know how to heal it up, and that's what we do. Natural Health, we've been doing it now for over 40 years now. So just a little more information the GAPS protocol is designed to restore the integrity of your gut lining, and we use parts of this in our program that we do here with nutrition response testing, and then we use other things, other nutritions we have to help heal the gut. So you have to do all these particular things, but many of them are very helpful. But again, our digestive system is lined by very specialized cells, which are called enterocytes. These littler cells only live for a few days. And that's kind of the good news, in that if you start treating the gut, you can actually heal it up pretty quickly. They live for 2 or 3 days, then they die, get shed off, and get replaced by new healthy enterocytes. The cell regeneration process in your gut lining is a very active process, which again is a good news thing, in that the gut can be repaired fairly quickly as long as you treat it correctly. This is just some more information that, if you get the book here, which I'm going to talk about, explains that. But even if you come into the office and go through our program, you'll find that we work through all this at the same time. I wanted to get to this primary foods in the GAPS diet, the homemade meat stock and homemade bone broth. And people can use that all the time. Now, the interesting thing we find is that if you don't do all these things in sequence and don't do them correctly, you won't get the result you're after. So we find that when we have a new patient come in and we start them on a program, we have to follow a very specific line of thought here to get the body to work correctly. Now, if you just ate homemade bone broth and meat stocks, that would be helpful, but it won't get rid of the underlying causes of why that's all there. So you have to address really the whole body at the same time, which is what we do at Natural Health. We're talking tonight about the gut and brain, but you have to address really everything at the same time: digestion, detox, all kind of things to get a more holistic approach to it, and then actually get a more holistic result. Holistic, we're talking about the whole body doing better, not just the gut, not just the brain, but the heart and the pancreas and the lungs and everything else doing well at the same time. So we have to use a more holistic approach, but this is giving you an idea that there are ways to help the gut to heal up, and again, in turn, helping the brain to work correctly. So again, a good example of this is people who have been on antibiotics forever and ever because their immune system isn't very good. So you have to build that all up. But people that have been on antibiotics a lot of times will have the antibiotic-resistant bacteria problems, the MERS, and all that kind of stuff, our SIBO, and all the other things that go on, the overgrowth of yeast, overgrowth of bacteria in the gut, because the good bacteria is not able to over or grow, and then the bad bacteria take over. Another thing that we're not going to talk much about here, but we do a lot in the office, is pH, dealing with the pH of the body, the acid-base balance, and how digestion is all part of that. So, again, soups with well-cooked de-seeded and peeled vegetables. Vegetables are always good. If you're cooking broccoli, cauliflower, remove all the stalks. And again, the fiber sometimes, you have to, and then people that will have problems with salads, they can't eat salads or greens because it just bothers them so bad. That's a really good sign that you're having problems with this stuff. Then primary foods, again, homemade fermented yogurt and whey, fermented vegetables, raw egg yolk and all that kind of stuff. All the good foods that not only help with the gut, but really help with lots of other things too. And if you'll think about this, these are things that we have really gotten away from and actually been told to stay away from, like raw egg yolk or just eating egg yolk. I mean, cholesterol, blah, 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 or the pH thing, can't have salt because, oh my gosh, that's gonna blood pressure, blah, blah. There's a whole bunch of stuff, these medical myths that have caused trouble with people forever. And again, that may have been true for one person with one issue, but then they just do it over the whole population the same way. Everybody's so different. So you have to treat each individual body differently. So again, Dr. McBride's book, The Gut and Psychological Syndrome, you can get it through this spot here. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all those places have this book. It's really worth, if you don't have a lot of problems with the gut, you still got a lot of good information in it about eating and good foods and things. And even if you have any children or know of children who have autism, it really gets into a lot of good information about that you can do. But the problem is it gets very complicated for just the average person, and that's why at our office we're doing things in a very sequential way of helping these kids that it's not so overwhelming to the parents. So again, just a lot of things you can do there. But that is just, I think that gets most of my information done for the day. But I really can't overemphasize this enough, the gut-brain connection, especially with diet. You know, this time of the year, especially the first year, we're looking at diet for weight loss. That's important, but there's a lot more to it than that. And one of the big things even I saw today, people will think about their health as one organ at a time. They'll go, well, you know, I got to take care of this heart issue, but you know, don't worry about everything else. Well, that's not the way to get the body healthy. Maybe be the way to treat symptoms with high blood pressure medication or something like that, just to help that number. But we have to start looking at what is health, what is overall health. Again, I think the COVID thing has really brought that out a lot, that people are just worried about this one bug. Well, pretty soon it had a variant, had another bug. And then there's another variant, another bug, and all these bugs are chasing all these bugs. And you're trying to use this experimental gene therapy to help all this, and finding out, well, it doesn't work very long, and it really didn't help stop anything. And all this you have to do is help the body to learn to be healthy itself. And that's, again, the knowledge we have here at Natural Health through getting the nervous system. World times think that chiropractic is only for neck. Have to have the basic building blocks, and which is nutritional needs, and also stop abusing the body with the diet. So we handle all these things here at Natural Health, trying to get the body working towards actual whole organic health. So that's probably enough lecture for me tonight. I'll go ahead and turn over to Dr. Chip, and he has more information that I'm sure you'll love to hear. Dr. Chip can take it away.
All right. Okay, so thanks for joining us on tonight's HealthShop here about the gut and brain connection. I'm Dr. Chip, and we'll keep it rolling here. So again, the part of the nervous systems, again, kind of all the nerves of your body, but there are different categories of nervous systems that we can help our minds at ease to see a more clear picture. Now, again, there's a central nervous system, and that involves your brain and your spinal cord. That's kind of where the chiropractic adjusting involves, that if we're able to get the spine well aligned, helping the nerves to flow properly, then that can actually get better communication from our brain to the rest of the body there too. The peripheral nerves are the nerves outside of that area there too, the central. And that kind of involves, you could say, one key part is the cranial nerve. It's called the vagus nerve. And this nerve is important because it helps the direct communication from our brain to our gut. So again, outside the brain and the spine, around the body. But again, it's a direct means of helping to see that, hey, the gut and the brain are well connected, and if one is going a little haywire, then the other one can be affected there too, and vice versa. Brain to the gut, gut to the brain. And then again, enteric gut, again, digestive organs. But now research, again, there's plenty of out there, there's more and more coming out, I'm sure. But the enteric or gut meaning is that the enteric system here, but it actually has a brain of its own. There's a lot of data and research to say that there's nerves or nerve cells just like the brain that are in the gut. And why that's important, like we said there too, is that if we're not treating our gut fair or appropriate, if it's not able to do well, if it's getting kind of chaotic in those different areas, then that can cause issues there too. So again, you can see is that when you are really hungry, like man, you're really starving for something good, and you're waiting for it, you're whatever. Now you become a little irritated about little things here and there. That's because the gut does have a big influence on our brain there too. So again, something to be aware of. And now some cool pictures here too. Again, central nervous system, more of that brain. Peripherals, kind of the nerves that are coming out from the spine, out from the brain there too. And then the enteric or the gut system, nervous system, again, kind of found in that area there too. So again, it says the effects of stress on the brain and the gut. And again, this is important because like Dr. Mark explained about the gut having a very thin wall of cells that are actually able to help our gut digest and assimilate different foods, that the gut, the reason why that's important is that when our nervous system is getting unbalanced in a certain way, say it's more in this sympathetic nervous system, and again, these are not bad or good, they're just different modes of being for the nervous system. And so when it's in that fight or flight system, that is not a time for our body to digest foods properly, which is, again, this is a good thing because we want to be able to run, fight, flee, anything like that when we need to, because if we didn't, the tiger in the room is much more effective than the virus. So again, in that immediate threat and danger, the big, the sympathetic, the immediate threat is going to be what the body wants to make sure to handle first. Then as we get to a stage where we're able to rest, relax, digest foods properly, our immune system is able to get back online, that is going to be more of helping our bodies to defend from different bacteria, viruses, fungi, all that stuff there too. So again, why these systems are important is because the nervous system has a big role on how our digestive system is working. And we'll kind of keep talking here. So again, the gut and the immune connection. Again, there's a study here about Johns Hopkins medicine. Again, always some good research, but it says a huge portion of your immune system is actually in your GI tract, says Dan Peterson. So again, the reason why that's so important is that, like Dr. Mark said there too, is that we have a big colony of different bacteria, viruses, fungi, all these different microorganisms in our gut, and that they play a very good role in how to digest foods properly. But, however, is that when something gets interrupted or something's not working well, those different colonies of bacteria, viruses, fungi, they start to overgrowth in different ways. And so that can kind of lead to, you'd say, UTI or bloating or anything like that. That's because something is getting unbalanced or off. And so a lot of times we are in the nature of taking some form of medication or anything like that. It could be antibiotics, anything. And again, in severe times, that's appropriate. However, if we do that and we're doing it too much, it's anti-bacteria or antibiotic, but antibiotic means anti-life. Biotic is our biology. So we want to make sure that we're not doing that too much because we're not only killing off the bad stuff, we're killing off the good stuff, and we're killing off too much. And so just like with any war, if you're fighting too much, then again, we start to have, you would say, adverse effects for not only the people that we're, or not only the bugs that we're trying to defend against or kill or eliminate, but we're actually going to hurt, you would say, our own cells on that too. So, okay, collateral damage, that's the word I was thinking. So again, that is kind of more in that aspect. However, if we're able to better regulate our systems, if we're able to balance our nervous system, bring our body in more of a harmony, then we're allowing our body to actually perform well, to where now those different colonies of bugs and all that can actually work together just like they were meant to be. And so again, another one here too is that increased nervous system stress causes decreased nerve and blood flow to the gut and immune system. So just like we said there, sympathetic system, it's more of for our cells to gear up towards immediate threat. But that is not a good thing in the long run if it's a chronic thing, because that can lead to more of digestive issues, immune system compromise, all that too. So if we're kind of riding in that state too long and we're not able to regulate ourselves, then again, that's going to start crashing down and we're going to start having other issues there too. So you can see more vulnerable to gut and immune-related issues, chronic illness, and acute infections. So again, our bodies are very smart, very intelligent, they know what to do. However, if we're not able to regulate ourselves, then we're going to start, you would say, kind of having consequences in the longer run there too. So just wanted to kind of come back to kind of the different systems there, is that, again, our bodies are very smart at what they do, and in the nutritional world, we're able to help feed our gut with good stuff. We're able to help ourselves to better supply good nutrients, vitamins, minerals, kind of more. Those are good communicators to help our body to perform well. But we also want to make sure that our nervous system is well regulated, is able to help our bodies to self-heal and self-regulate, which again, that's always what it's trying to do. But sometimes, again, that is hard when we don't, help ourselves. And so the parasympathetic, sympathetic is more of that way of going about it too. So again, sympathetic, when we're in that high intense stress, or it doesn't have to be very intense like a tiger in the room. It can be other factors that could be, a little worry, irritation, other stuff like that can cause that. And again, we're just kind of riding that mode for too long if we're not able to realize that we're doing that. And so that can lead to the gut becoming less connected in a sense. You see that those tight junctions there, those gaps, all that. That's because that nervous system is having a hard time to be in harmony with each other. And so we want to make sure that we're able to connect that well. And that's what kind of more that chiropractic side does there too, is just as we reset and regulate the nervous system, balance out the body, it's helped to get back to that normal process there too. And so again, back to more of not just the parasympathetic, the rest and digest, but making sure that this is a coherent way that when we need to, we can come to this, and when we need to, we can come to that. But again, making sure there's a balance. So again, how can you help yourself? Of course, food, like Dr. Mark explained, nutrition, good foods, that'll help with everything. Water, again, staying hydrated, our bodies are about 70% plus water. Breath, again, breath's not only good because we breathe, I don't know how many breaths per minute, it's 12 to 16 around there. But again, that's a big thing. So again, sometimes when we catch ourselves, our breath is important because that is a way for not only to help regulate our nervous system voluntarily, because a lot of times we're always breathing. It's only until we say breath or we bring attention to our breath that now you have to actually think about your breathing. And so again, that's a way to help us to regulate better. The sun, again, we're getting some more sunlight, it's getting warmer. Good sunshine is always good for the body to help, again, get to that more peaceful state. and then activity. Again, a lot of times is that when our mind is doing one thing, but our body is standing still. Sometimes, again, just moving our bodies, kind of getting more to that nature of needing to do things, will help our nervous system to, you would say, regulate better there too. So again, I think that is it for tonight. I hope you learned some great information. Again, we can always follow us at Natural Health Quincy IL at Facebook, YouTube, Brighteon, and Instagram. You can always subscribe to our email list, again, for more helpful information. Our website is naturalhealthquincy.com. We're located at 2000 Jefferson Street in Quincy, Illinois, and the number is 217-228-2040. So guys, thank you so much for watching again. Again, we're trying to really help get more information out there for everybody to see that, again, you can help yourselves. There's other ways of going about things, and that your body is very good at what it does. Sometimes we just have to know what we're doing, understand what's going on, and get out our own way. So again, thank you again for watching. We're kind of getting more done with the gut stuff, or gut-brain connection, or you say digestion for this month, and stay tuned for more for next month. See you soon.